Welcome back to HPL. We just saw Era take a 2-1 lead over Nyrea in what has to be one of the longest matches we've ever had here at HPL already, even through just 3 games. And you know what? Just for our own sake and just for the sake of Nyrea, I've got to believe he's going to queue up something aggressive here.
I don't think it's going to happen at all. I think both of these guys are loving the intensity of these very long battles, and we're going to see if they love it here in this game. Game 4 is getting underway. Nyrea versus Era.
I'm loving what Era's bringing to this whole tournament. As I said, I'm quickly becoming just a huge fan of his, and it looks like he's queuing up that Druid deck again that he had earlier in game 2.
Strap in, boys. This one's bound to be long. Nyrea's got handlock in this one, and it's going to be a matter of whether or not Era can fight through everything that Nyrea's going to throw at him.
Era snap kept an Emperor in his opening hand. You know, he's like, it's been so good for me so far in this match. I can't pass it up.
I mean, that's how predictable both of these guys are coming into this matchup, though, is that both of them are very unwilling to blink in these kinds of situations. They know that they wanted to be fighting the long games, you know. Kind of considering that, I'm actually a little bit surprised that Mortal Coils are in Nyrea's handlock deck. I mean, if there's one matchup where you could go the full Monty and tech your deck out, I mean, it's in this matchup here. These guys are refusing to swap.
Yeah, what would you take out for the Mortal Coils? Like, what's a card do you think you should be adding in for something like this?
Well, I don't think I'd be building it in such a traditional style. You know, I do like that he's including Siphon Soul in here. Very much a big nod to the fact that Era's going to be having larger minions in his deck. But I would love to see big game hunters. I would love to see abusive sergeants coupled with those to make sure you can pick off those strategies, and then some way to continue your longevity. You know, in this deck, we saw Kranich actually play Leroy Jenkins and Faceless Manipulator with Power Overwhelming in his handlock deck. I don't think that's necessarily a bad choice in a matchup like this.
Yeah, so you just wanted to see him go completely off the deep end.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, again, when both of these players are completely unwilling to blink. Now, that being said, Nyrea is down 2-1, so he can't afford to be blown out of a game completely, so he's got to keep his deck a little bit more honest.
You just saw the the turn 4, coin, nourish, get 2 mana crystals, use my hero power, get up to 6 mana. Next turn, he's going to have 7 mana and a ton of cards to play.
Yeah, it's going to be a matter of whether or not he can actually fight through this Molten Giant, though. He doesn't have the Mountain Giant. He doesn't have a way to actually check this at the moment, so this is a frightening minion. In Nyrea, you know, he saw Mind Control Tech in game 1. Is he going to remember that it's in here for game 2?
I was just about to say, this Mind Control Tech is looming, so it's going to be interesting to see if he plays around it here in the situation and doesn't add another minion to the board. Nyrea, I got to believe he remembers that pretty well.
I mean, it certainly would. He did win that game, though.
Yeah, he did win that game. That game was crazy. He went to Fatigue. The last card in his deck was Dr. Boom. It was just such a... God, these games have been so long and grueling. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if one player forgot 1 card sitting somewhere.
I mean, this matchup looking like it has the potential to end very quickly, though. I mean, these taunts are going to be put on the board, but Shadow Flame is looming, and lots of ways to continue to follow up after that. Loatheb added to hand as well.
Yeah, this Ironbeak Owl is going to take care of the Sludge Belcher as well. And we're going to add Loatheb. He's going to get aggressive.
Whoa. Yeah, I'm thinking twice now. He remembers that Mind Control Tech. I don't know if he's actually going to put another minion behind this.
Yeah, I love to see the balk there from Nyrea. He remembers the Mind Control Tech. He is going to pull into it. You know what? We're going to get to see another big roll here from Era. What is Fate going to decide? What minion is he going to get off of this? Is he going to get the Mountain Giant? No, he's going to get the Loatheb. Still a pretty decent minion out of there.
Yeah, you know, Shadow Flame is something that Nyrea is thinking about too, though, like how easy follow up to Mind Control Tech. I think it is a little bit of relief to get it out of the way now while he still has efficient answers to, you know, keep in check what's going on the board.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. Now, how is Era going to advance his board from here? Maybe he's thinking about something like Shadow Flame, and how does he, you know, work against that in this spot?
Yeah, I mean, in this position, the unwillingness to commit more is something that he's thinking about, but he's facing down an 8-4. He doesn't have time to just sit back and wait forever. He's got to actually do something. And if he adds this Ancient Allure to the board, I mean, you can basically kiss this entire board goodbye.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to make the 5-10 taunt. You're going to see a huge Shadow Flame out of Nyrea here.
Yeah, this is going to be devastating.
He also picks up another Mountain Giant, too. That's another good card for Nyrea.
I mean, he could just Siphon Soul this and keep pushing for damage, too. I mean, he may want to just save the Dark Bomb, but he's going to go for value instead.
Yeah, Shadow Flame's going to all but clear Era's board. The Ironbeak Owl is going to finish it off here, and Nyrea's not going to have much of a follow-up, but he does clear all of Era's board.
Yeah, Sylvanas Windrunner, a great minion to be staring down against a 4-5 taunt that can't attack. You will almost always get value from it in this point unless your opponent can silence it. Great pickup there from Era that turn.
And Nayria adds another giant to his hand here. He already has a mountain giant that he can play this here, that he can play this turn. So it's gonna be interesting to see how much more he wants to develop here. Yeah, he's just gonna add a Sludge Belcher here, get the full taunt up, and hope this mountain giant can be a road to victory.
Yeah, but he's looking to push through massive points of damage here. Zombie Chow is basically a dead draw at this point. You know, something Zombie Chow actually could do, though, is keep Nayria out of range of Molten Giant for a little bit longer. So there is some plus side to it. But in this position, look at this. Just going to Keeper the Grove, his own Sylvanas. This is a major moment on the steal right now.
Is he finally going to get one of the giants? Ooh, he gets the Sludge Belcher. Again, not that bad. It's still pretty good in this spot. He has got a lot of defense set up here in the Sinjin Shield Master and the Sludge Belcher. Nayria has just the Molten Giant left over here, but these Siphon Souls, he might be able to get through the last couple points of damage if he draws another Silence effect.
Yeah, I mean, a second Iron Beak Owl would be a pretty amazing pickup from him at this point.
Nayria's down to 16, though, and Era has a ton of power in play, and there is the Iron Beak Owl that we talked about.
That is potentially a huge draw right now. Is Nayria considering something like Savage over this position? I mean, given the way these matches have panned out, I would say that he's not taking into account something like that. Oh, is this actually lethal this turn? 8, 9, 10, 11. No. Okay, so he Hellfire's here to activate Mortal Coils. He's going to punch through the Sinjin Shieldmaster here. What is going on? Was that a misclick maybe?
It's potentially. I gotta believe that Nayria is never gonna play around combo in this matchup. One, how does Era make room for it in his deck? Two, he saw almost his entire deck in game one, so he knows that he probably doesn't have it here.
Oh, he Hellfired because he wanted to get this Molten Giant online too. Okay, this is actually really smart from Nayria here. Understands that he needs to just continue this push, and that since he's got the Siphon Soul and the Iron Beak Owl in his hand, it's a spot where Era can't afford to just continue to dirtle around and not really do anything. He's got to make something happen.
Yeah. Now, Era's hand, he's adding a ton of this extra mana to it, so if this Wild Growth moves into another huge thing like a Chromagus like we saw earlier in the game, he might be able to get a ton of value here off this turn, but he is staring down 16 points of damage that he's going to have to deal with. You have to believe the Sludge Belcher is going to run into this Mountain Giant. Oh, Faceless Manipulator. That is a pretty big draw here. He can make his own Molten Giant if he wants to here.
Yeah, I mean, I have to believe this is something he's going to do. I mean, where does he get more value from a Faceless Manipulator at this point? Because he doesn't have any significant threats to put behind this. The problem still, of course, is that Nayria has this Siphon Soul in his hand. Era doesn't know that, but is he thinking about something like Big Game Hunter?
You know, you've got to be worried about these cards, but again, you're at 14 and you're at a precarious spot. You have to just do what you have to do. You can't play around too many things here in this spot.
Yeah, got to make something happen, so just going to heal himself up. Even putting the Zombie Chow on board, you know, the fact that he just saw that Hellfire, this is liable to get in a couple points of damage here. And wow, great pickup from Nayria, able to continue to stabilize his board position, make sure damage isn't getting pushed through on his end.
Yeah. Era actually was threatening lethal here this turn, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, that's why he added the Zombie Chow to the board, but Nayria, you know, the fact that he's got these super powerful minions out is making the big difference here. Era's got 2 copies of Innervate, and his hero power doesn't draw extra cards.
Oh, he's actually just too short of finishing him off here this turn. He could have, you know, Druid and swiped here. Yeah.
So close.
Good plays by Era the last 2 turns to try to push through lethal here in these last couple turns.
Yeah, I think he's recognized that the game plan for him is that he had to push something here, but you're going to see a drastic change in direction, I think, in this turn.
Yeah, you're probably going to see swipe Earth Ring Farseer into the Molten Giant, and then I'm guessing a taunting of the Druid of the Claw here.
Yeah, I don't suspect this is going to be charging in anytime soon. I'm just going to clear things up, just a little bit of damage. And once again, 2 Innervates in his hand. He needs something like Ancient Allure. Oh, Dr. Boom gets picked up from Nayria. Another huge draw at this point. But, you know, again, is he fearing any sort of damage? I would have to suspect that given last turn, he feels comfortable playing anything he wants.
Yeah, I mean, he does have Dr. Boom's Sun Fury Protector, which is pretty good. Here, he's going to be able to taunt up a ton of stuff here and just sit behind that. And that's what you're going to see him do. The Strap-In Boys, this game's going to get a little long here the next turn or two. Someone's looking for a card to break through.
Yeah,
oh, big game hunter.
It's going to check that 7-7, but, you know, still needs a lot more work to be done if he's going to actually win this game. Very happy, I think, to see it go to the Dome in this position. Needs every single point of minion health he can get. These guys are fighting such a grueling battle.
Dr. Boom. Man, this game is just going back and forth. It's such a slugfest between the two. This whole match has been that way. Molten Giant drawn by Nayria. Great draw from him here.
Action all over the place. Even gets some Mortal Coil. the Druid of the Claw afterwards. Antique Healbot can pad his life total. This is such a beautiful spot for him. Gets to pick up the Zombie Chow afterwards. I mean, this game is all but ended at this point.
What a huge turn here from Naira, getting to add Molten Giant and Sludge Belcher to his board, all but sealing the deal here to force a Game 5 with Era.
Yeah, he even chooses to pick off the Zombie Chow too here. He wants nothing possible to be able to happen. Ancient of Lore, but you know, he's facing down lethal damage. He needs to pick up something massive in this spot.
He needs a Taunter here, and he has a lot lot of mana left. He still has 7 mana
he's
here.
He's like big game hunter. He needs something that can actually get the job done.
Yeah, he's going to have to cycle this Wrath and kill the Sunfury Protector and see what he draws.
You know, Nyria's only got 11 damage here, so.
Yeah, a big game hunter is going to be a huge draw here as well.
Yeah, gets a swipe instead.
And that's not going to get it done. Now, as you said, Nayria only has 11 damage here. Era's at 12, so unless Nayria finds another way to deal damage here, Era's going to get another turn.
Yeah, still a couple of cards that could end this, though. Defender of Argus, you know, a second Hellfire. I don't know if there's any charge damage in here. I would suspect not, but you know, maybe like Power Overwhelming could get the job done. But I have to believe if he's going to set Era at 1 and then have multiple threats behind this, he feels super comfortable in a position like that.
Anti-kill bot just in case, you know, just get up to 20. Doesn't want
I think he just wants the 3/3 body out right now, honestly.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm just saying, just get the extra 8 life though, just in case, you know.
Just not going to be enough from Era's side of the board. Looks like we're going to Game 5, boys.
Well, he can silence the Sludge Belcher, attack it with his Ancient of Lore, play Shinjin Shield Master. No, then he, oh yeah, because then he can kill the
swipe the
anti-kill bot. Yeah, so he might be able to get another turn out of this.
I think if that's a position that you might want to attack the Molten Giant too, but then he needs the repetitive damage out of the Ancient of Lore, so he has to take a risk against something like a second Shadow Flame to make up for this, to the way this board position's been panning out.
These games have just been so back and forth and just such a slugfest. This has got to be one of the most brutal matches we've called here ever on HPL.
It's been quite a long one. Yeah, here comes the swipe. So able to stay alive, you know, again, another turn. You know, do you even bother hero powering this position? It's not going to be enough. Iron Beak Owl is in hand, so no way to live through this one. Nayria is sending this one to Game 5, boys. Gosh, these have been some crazy games. Neither player willing to blink on their strategies, and second Iron Beak Owl able to push through his last points of damage. Nayria had such a crazy set of draws as he rolled in that late stage of the game. You know, he picked up a Mountain Giant, picked up Molten Giant, picked up Dr. Boom, had Siphon Soul to answer what was going on. And every single step of the way, he had answers for what was happening.
And with what's been going on in this match, I fully expect both of them to queue up Face Hunter here in Game 5. But no, yeah, as you said, neither one of them is willing to actually give any ground to the other player. They're both sticking to their guns. You see Nayria playing control, trying to control the board, trading off minions, and just going blow for blow with Era. You know what? Era's not backing down either. He keeps playing these huge Druid decks and these Flood Mage decks, so it's going to be very interesting to see what they bring here because they're both at match point now going into Game 5.
No telling how either one of them adjusts to this sort of position. I mean, their noses are wide open as far as I'm concerned. I mean, if you were going to play Face Hunter, this is the spot to do it, but we're going to have to see what they play when we get back. Guys, it's match point for both of these players. Get out there on Twitter and use that hashtag HPL. Let everyone know what you're thinking of this match and what you think they're going to play here in Game 5.
So good.
Don't go anywhere, guys. You're watching Hearthstone on PvP Live.